The pair made the shock announcement in January 2020, and subsequently moved to the US with their son, Archie. Since then, Meghan and Harry have publicly spoke about the difficulties they faced as royals, including mental health issues it caused and even alleged racism. Since leaving for their new life, Meghan has not returned to British soil, and Harry has returned just twice, for Prince Philip's funeral and the unveiling of the statue of his late mother, Princess Diana. When Meghan first joined the family, it seemed like a fairy tale, but the relationship slowly began to break down. Royal biographer Andrew Morton spoke to experts Molly Mulshine and Christina Garibaldi on Royally US podcast. Mr. Morton said, "I thought that she was a team player before, and she was known as a team player on Suits. When she joined the royal family, she made every effort to get involved. She converted to the Church of England, she changed her nationality, and was going to become a Brit." He added, "She gave up all her social media accounts and dropped the fact she was a patron of various charities. She seemed to be willing to be integrated into the royal family. I think that what's happened is a small tragedy for the royal family. They've lost someone who was relevant to a section of the population that they couldn't really reach. She and Harry have shown that they're not prepared to accept what was put in front of them and make their own way. Since leaving their roles as working royals, the pair have become financially independent. Their portfolio includes a reported 150 meters Netflix deal, a Spotify deal, a Silicon Valley startup role, and most recently, a bank. Prince William was given almighty being trademark by Queen after Zara crashed royal family support. How many people back the monarchy? Staggering royal fans chart. The pair announced they were moving into banking, promising to change the world by putting their money into an investment firm called Ethic. It is understood they were introduced to its founders by friends. The Duke and Duchess have been appointed as impact partners. Royal family faces a minor crisis after several senior royals who could aid the Queen with her duties are unable to lend a hand. Talk Radio's royal correspondent Rupert Bell suggested conversations about making life easier for the Queen have hit a huge snag after Prince Harry and Prince Andrew, who would usually be perfect to help out, became unavailable. It comes as the Queen was forced to cancel a trip to Northern Ireland on health advice and had to spend the night in hospital. Speaking on Talk Radio, Mr. Bell discussed the Queen's health and future with Rob Rinder. Her Majesty, 95, was due to visit Northern Ireland to attend the centenary service, but was advised not to travel. The monarch returned to Windsor on Thursday with Mr. Johnson informing the press he was told she was back at her desk working. Mr. Bell and Mr. Rinder discussed the story with Mr. Rinder, asking, "Of course, we have Charles and I wonder whether he is going to be taking on new duties. And really, as our Queen gets increasingly to that magical age of 100, do you think she's likely to be able to fulfill that full buffet of roles that she's been fulfilling until now?" Mr. Bell responded, "Probably not, but one of the problems the royal family have, they are a couple down if you see what I mean, people they would have expected to try and help out. Whether it be their grandmother or their mother, but unfortunately one's gone to America and one's got other things on his mind. And that is causing the royal family a degree of problem because they do realize they want the Queen to step back a little bit because at 95 you would expect it to be. But the Queen is also very reluctant in her case to step back because if she feels she can do it she wants to get back out there." Mr. Bell added Prince Charles was likely aware of the situation and what he now needs to do with the rest of the royal family involves thinking of ways to ease the constitutional burden. On Wednesday, it was announced that the head of state's trip to Northern Ireland was cancelled after doctors' orders to rest. But the palace has come under fire from some royal commentators after it emerged the Queen went to the hospital as she was understood to be resting at her Berkshire residence. The Daily Express's royal correspondent Richard Palmer tweeted, "The Queen TMS night in hospital when the palace said she was at Windsor is our splash in later editions today." Royal sources had been keen to encourage the impression that she had just overdone it but may struggle to convince the public now. In good spirits is a palace cliché. Journalists including the BBC TM's Nick Witchell have pointed out that rumour and misinformation will thrive if the palace cannot be relied upon for trustworthy information. Radio host has claimed that a visit to Washington, D.C. could be on the cards for Meghan Markle following her letter to Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi and Senator Chuck Schumer, which lobbied for parental paid leave in the U.S. According to Mike Graham, Meghan knows very well that Nancy Pelosi would enjoy the publicity, as both he and royal expert Angela Levin predict a transition to politics for the Duchess. Since leaving the royal family, she and Prince Harry have established themselves in the US as activists and public figures. Mike Graham, a host on talk radio, said, "She knows very well that Nancy Pelosi is of a similar bent. Nancy Pelosi loves a bit of publicity, so she'll love the idea that she's had the letter. So no doubt, the next step will be, why don't you come to Washington, and we can have you address the Senate about the issue of childcare. Or some nonsense." Royal expert Angela Levin continued, "This is what she wants, of course. I mean, she really does want to try and be a politician. She also wants to make films, she wants to star in them, she also wants to tell people how to invest their money." In the letter, Meghan addressed herself as the Duchess of Sussex and wrote that she was writing as a mother. She also spoke of her own childhood, recalling how she felt lucky to be eating a $4.99 salad at Sizzler and that she had begun to earn her own money from the age of 13. Meghan wrote, "I knew how hard my parents worked to afford this, because even at $5, eating out was something special, and I felt lucky." The Duchess also discussed the arrival of her and Prince Harry's baby daughter Lilibet, acknowledging that many parents were unable to spend time with their children like they had done. "Like any parents, we were overjoyed. Like many parents, we were overwhelmed. Like fewer parents, we weren't confronted with the harsh reality of either spending those first few critical months with our baby or going back to work. We knew we could take her home, and in that vital and sacred stage, devote any and everything to our kids and to our family." In the US, only 9 states and Washington, D.C. have implemented paid family leave policies, with Meghan writing that it should be a national right. This lobbying campaign falls in line with her 40 by 40 initiative, which she launched as part of her 40th birthday celebrations in August. Don't miss, she had asked 40 friends and activists to donate 40 minutes of their time to mentoring an unemployed woman. In a statement on the couple's Archewell website, Meghan wrote that women had been shouldering the brunt of the crisis, with over 2 million women in the US alone leaving the workforce. Since leaving the royal family, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have established themselves as leading activists. In September, they conducted a 3-day tour of New York, where they met with New York's Mayor Bill de Blasio, joined a roundtable discussion with the World Health Organization, and gave a speech at the Global Citizen Live concert. They have also launched their own non-profit foundation Archewell and have signed a $100 million deal with Netflix and Spotify. The couple currently reside in Montecito in California with their 2 children. Queen sparked health concerns among royal fans this week when she reluctantly followed her medical advice and cancelled a planned working trip to rest for the next few days. Buckingham Palace has made it clear Her Majesty is well and in great spirits, as demonstrated on the evening of October 19, when she hosted a reception at Windsor Castle for business leaders, diplomats and government officials with her usual charm and energy. Nevertheless, a royal commentator has called on the Queen to sensibly slash the number of engagements she carries out every year in order to keep her reign going for as long as possible. Columnist Dan Wootton wrote in the Mail Online, "Please, Mom, for the sake of all of us, it's time to slow down. We want you to reign as a centenarian, and I truly believe you can." The commentator argued the monarch could remain Britain's head of state while enjoying a more relaxed, daily routine. He said, "But the key to that is to see you less and allow you more time to enjoy a form of semi-retirement at 95. The idea you must keep driving forward with such a busy schedule is no longer necessary." Mr. Wootton noted the Queen was not slowed down even by the coronavirus pandemic and the months of lockdown. In 2020, she was the third hardest working member of the firm as she completed 136 engagements, a number topped only by Princess Anne and Prince Charles. Over the past 7 decades on the throne, the Queen hasn't just carried out major tours across the world or royal visits, but also completed day-to-day duties such as reading the content of the government's red boxes, holding audiences with diplomats and hosting receptions. Her Majesty's daily duties, Mr. Wotton said, could be taken care by future Kings Charles and William, which would leave the Queen the chance to focus on major events such as the upcoming COP26 climate change summit, as well as the passion projects, like horse racing, that keep her heart happy and mind engaged. Mr. Wotton reported a source saying Prince William and Prince Charles are indeed prepared to step up and support the Queen as much as they can. The source claimed, the Prince of Wales in particular is taking on as much as he possibly can, and you've seen over the past 5 years how the Duke of Cambridge acknowledges his role has changed. Their overwhelming priority is now to support the Queen. Indeed, the future kings have already taken on some of the duties the Queen used to carry out. Yesterday, the Prince of Wales led a ceremony at Windsor Castle during which baking Queen Mary Berry was made a dame, recognised for her 50-year culinary and broadcasting career as well as her charity work. The Queen hasn't entirely renounced leading these joyful ceremonies. In July last year, she performed a special investiture for Captain Tom Moore in recognition of his outstanding fundraising efforts during the first wave of COVID infections. Since returning to work on October 1 after her summer break, the 95-year-old monarch has completed more than a dozen in-person and virtual engagements. On October 19 alone, she held 2 audiences and hosted the Global Investment Summit reception. On the following day, she was scheduled to leave for Hillsborough Castle for a 2-day tour of Northern Ireland marking the nation's centenary. However, Buckingham Palace issued a statement at 11 a.m. on October 20 saying, the Queen has reluctantly accepted medical advice to rest for the next few days. Her Majesty is in good spirits and is disappointed that she will no longer be able to visit Northern Ireland, where she had been due to undertake a series of engagements today and tomorrow. The Queen sends her warmest good wishes to the people of Northern Ireland, and looks forward to visiting in the future.